Hey y'all, Wiggle here. I'm going to call this, I'm getting the garden ready for frost. So we had frost 2 nights ago, got down below 32. So we ended up taking all of our sweet potatoes out of the garden. I do have a video of where I planted them earlier this year, but I got them in late, I mean. So now, how do we cure sweet potatoes? Well, I got my best looking ones, and they don't look great, but I got these. Underneath this one, I have a little dish tub, little trays. It's full of water for humidity. Underneath this one, I got all the small ones that I think might make good roots for next year, so I saved the roots. And then these are just my tubers. So I have the little 100-watt fan there, 80 or 100 watts, I forget. And then I have the tray of water for humidity. Now how do I control the temperature? Well, I put them in the bathtub in the house so I wouldn't be wasting the heat. Any extra heat will help the house down in the basement bathroom. So I got some of my foam, and I had to clean that lens, it's driving me nuts. Now I got a little, Rainbird type on-off outlet. You plug it in, you can program it. And I have this one programmed to go off at 85 degrees. And it comes on at like 50 or whatever. So it'll go up to 85 and then it'll stop. So I need to leave my potatoes in here for 10 days. Make sure my little water tray stays full. It's supposed to have high humidity. I do have an idea of how to do it, but I'm not going to go to all that trouble. I'm just going to keep that water tray full and hope that we have enough humidity. Temperature is, I think, the most important part. So I'm going to make sure that it stays at 85 in there. And 10 days, and then they'll be cured. So I'm going to show you what else we're doing. Now I did keep some of the ones aside that look kind of interesting. See how it has that really tough vine on there. It's got green on it still. I'm like, this will make a good house plant. So I'm going to pot this up and try to keep it in the house, in the window. And that'll be my backup for roots and slips and so forth. So I kept several of these interesting ones. And I need to get those planted before they dry out all the way. So in prepping for the freeze, I cut off all these tomato suckers. And I got a piece of foam, drilled a bunch of holes in it. And there are all my tomatoes. I cut some of the lower foliage off and stuck them through these holes. I stuck some stuff in here that probably won't make it, but I just thought I'd give it a shot because I had space on this tray. So anyway, this is just a cement tub and a 24 by 16 piece of foam. And just make sure your little suckers are sticking through the bottom far enough to make sure they get watered. Looks like I got to put a little more water in there. Not quite floating. That was 5 gallons, so it needs maybe like 7 gallons. They've been sitting in there for a couple days, and this is what the water looks like. You obviously don't want your sucker sitting in that. So you got to keep changing the water. I'm going to change the water every day in this. And I made several of these little foam floating mats. I just stacked them on top of each other and drilled the hole. That way I was drilling a number of them at the same time. Ends up I only needed one. But I'm going to use that for other things like rosemary, basil, or thyme, and those kind of cuttings. Any kind of mint or anything. I can just do the same thing over again. And it won't be quite so crowded. So I'll actually show you a video of that when I do some time, especially. Here's one tomato that I went ahead and saved. I'm going to pot it up. It looked pretty interesting. I have tried digging up tomatoes and replanting them, and it's always failed on me. Probably because they got frost damaged and they just gave up. But I saw this and I'm like, I'm gonna save that. That'll definitely be a plant. So here's the peppers that I was talking about. Now, these are not perfectly pruned or anything. We just kind of did it in a hurry. So I'm going to try to overwinter my peppers. I'm going to try to overwinter my tomatoes, and I'm going to try to make sure to have sweet potato roots for next year. So I just wanted to share this little project with you. And, appreciate you watching. This is Wiggle Out. Alright, quick follow up. See how I got it floating now? Now I know every one of those little stubs sticking out the bottom is touching water. So I'll need about 6 to 7 gallons of water every day to change this out. And we'll see. And I really did put some little stem pieces and stuff. I have no idea. I don't think they're going to make it, but we'll see. And I'll learn from trial and error. And a lot of tomatoes here. So I'll follow up in a couple days and we'll see what dies in the meantime. Can you believe those chickens are eating tomato branches? I just don't understand that. You would think they would not eat nightshade family stuff like that. Ugh. Oh well. And a brief follow-up. This was about wheelbarrows full of sweet potatoes here. And all that's left is a couple of the really huge ones. The cows just chewed them up. And I think the chickens have been at them too. But these were the ones that I just didn't think would cure. They were damaged too much or whatever. So they ate quite a few. And this is just another follow-up out here. The hay bales, spreading them out. You can see that's my 3rd bale there. So I'll show you in a few weeks what that looks like. But that's how I'm expanding this garden. This garden is making its way over there. And all this grass and so forth is going to get covered by hay this winter. And I'll probably take it out good ways down that way. Everything up to the road will end up just getting hayed in and manured in. And it'll be sitting there waiting. And if I do need to go ahead and start planting, I can just bring in finished compost to make my mounds with and just leave the other stuff just right where it is and just kind of build right over the top of it. So my aisles will already be built. I'll just put my grow beds on top of the hay. And that'll give it time to finish. That way I don't have to wait for everything to be finished to plant in it. It'll be composting while I'm gardening over the top of it. So that saves a little time. So I'll keep you updated on that too. Wiggle out. Didn't get rid of me that quickly. So here is the piece that I had laid underneath. So I just got a piece 24 by 16 and I put this piece on top of it. I got some 4-inch screws and put them down through to hold it. Just like 6 screws to hold it in place. Then I drilled it. And I originally marked all my holes, but then it just takes too much precision. So I just started just guessing at them. Just popping them in there. So anyway, I have one done here. And I'll be able to put different kind of plants in there. I didn't know how many I needed for all those tomatoes, so I thought I needed a whole bunch. I ended up just needing one. I had 3 buckets full of, crammed pretty full. At least 2 of them were pretty full with the little suckers from the tomatoes, but one raft a whole lot. So anyway, I thought that might be helpful. Thanks for watching. Wiggle out.